Heading into last week, I thought I had a good idea what was going on in the NFL, but turns out I don't have a clue. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Yeah, last week was rough, Grossi. And today, we are going to be breaking down and predicting every single game in the Week 9 slate. That is right, folks. We are halfway there through the NFL season, which is pretty insane at this point. We only got 2 more months left to go in the regular season, and then the real season begins. Or as Chiefs fans would say, the actual regular season, because they don't know anything else. It's fine, I'm not bitter. Last week, I went 8-5, one of my worst records of the season thus far, bringing me to an 84-36 record on the season, giving me the 238th place in the Pick'em League, and there are 3 individuals who are doing far better than I am, who are tied for first place with a 90-30 record. A huge shout out and congrats to them as they are crushing it this season. It's kind of crazy that there's only a 6-game difference, but hey, every single pick counts. So this week, I gotta try not to screw it up. And starting off with a Thursday night football matchup, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Ravens, they were able to knock off the Chicago Bears. Snoop Huntley looked like Lamar Jackson against that Bears defense as he was able to dice them up. Derrick Henry himself had 2 touchdowns. And listen, the Bears defense is real beat up right now. They're missing their 3 starting corners. And so while it's not super impressive, the Ravens have needed a win. On top of that, their defense has looked pretty good the last 2 times that we have seen them out there. Lamar Jackson is expected to be back this Thursday, which will be great ammunition for this offense. And the Ravens are looking at that AFC North and seeing that it's pretty vulnerable. The Steelers have lost their last 2 games. The Cleveland Browns and the Bengals are, they're doing their usual thing. And so now the Ravens are looking to have a much better second half of the season and hopefully capturing that AFC North title. They're taking on the Miami Dolphins, and I gotta be honest, when we were streaming last Thursday night and they showed that this was the next game on the docket, I didn't feel so great about it because the Dolphins, they have been struggling. However, they won on Sunday. And not only did they win, but their defense looked good and their offense looked good against a Falcons defense that just a few weeks earlier shut down Josh Allen.
Don't
what?
Don't give me hope.
Maybe things are changing in Miami. I don't have a lot of hope, but maybe. But seriously, Tua had his best game all season, throwing 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did it with one freaking eye, as one of his eyes was swollen shut heading into last week's game. And ultimately for the Dolphins, it's a mix of, oh, this is nice that they're getting things going, but it's also, where has this team been? And it's a little bit infuriating because heading into this season, Miami had a lot to prove. All the narratives were about if Tua could stay healthy, the Dolphins should be pretty good. The unfortunate thing is Tua has been healthy and the Dolphins still aren't good. Devin Achane is putting together a really nice season so far. And like I mentioned, the defense was much better this past Sunday. But for the most part, Miami's defense has been MIA. You have not seen them play a good game almost all year. And now taking on the Baltimore Ravens with a returning Lamar Jackson, this is going to be tough. I imagine they are going to have to blitz him nonstop and try to get after Lamar Jackson, but best of luck with that based on their defense that they currently have. And so here, even though it is being played in Miami, it'll be a little bit warmer, and you never know about these Miami-Baltimore games. There have been some weird ones in the past. I'm going to go with the returning Lamar Jackson to get the win here, and if the Dolphins are able to pull this off, who knows? Maybe they'll be able to turn around their season, but I don't see that happening this Thursday, and I got Lamar Jackson for the win. Following that, you got the Chicago Bears taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bears, They had one job. They were winning all of these games. They were on a 4-win streak. And then, they just have to beat the Ravens without Lamar Jackson, and they could not get it done. Caleb Williams has not looked good these past couple of weeks, but really didn't look good on Sunday. They couldn't really establish the run game. Their defense is torn to pieces. And yeah, it's tough going for the Chicago Bears right now. But hey, they just signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so that's something. They're going to be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, who lost to the New Jersey Jets. That's right. The Jets got their first win of the season last week, and it came at the expense of the Bengals. And listen, let's be very honest here. The Bengals, when Joe Burrow went down, expectations were at an all-time low. However, when Joe Flacco came in, they were able to knock off the Steelers on Thursday night. And you said, hey, maybe they could turn things around and at least hold the ship steady until Joe Burrow returned. But after losing to the Jets, Joe Flacco might just enjoy retirement instead of playing for the Bengals and that defense.
Reliving the glory days is better than acting like they didn't happen.
Yes, they happened. But this, our family, is what's happening now, Bob.
But the unfortunate news for Joe Flacco is he is currently dealing with an injury, and his status is questionable for this upcoming Sunday against Chicago. So he is day-to-day right now. And looking at this matchup, both teams desperately need a win. Both defenses are not good. Both offenses are hit and miss. And if Joe Flacco doesn't play, I've seen this offense with Jake Browning. It is not pretty. And so with Joe Flacco's status in doubt, I'm actually going to go with the Chicago Bears to get a win here. And one of the major reasons why, besides Joe Flacco potentially missing this game, is right now the Cincinnati Bengals have the worst run defense in the league. When have the Bears been able to win games? When their defense is able to step up. Don't know if that's going to happen. But also when they get DeAndre Swift going. And so if they're able to establish the run, that's going to take some pressure off of Caleb Williams. I think they'll be able to do it against this Bengals defense. So because of that, I'm going with Chicago to get a win. And again, worst case scenario, I'm wrong, and the Bears still lose. Following that, you have an NFC North showdown between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. The Vikings. No one told them that the season was supposed to be this way. But things have not been looking good for Minnesota. Not only are they dealing with a litany of injuries, but Carson Wentz, it just was announced that he is going to be out for the season after battling through injuries over these past couple of weeks, and KOC apparently trying to kill him against the Chargers. And so we will see J.J. McCarthy suiting up. So we'll see if Hutch can get a sack on his former Michigan teammate.
I'm going to enjoy it very, very much.
Because they are going to be taking on the Detroit Lions, who are coming out of their bye week. Aiden Hutchinson just getting a major extension that was announced today. A 4-year extension, making him the second highest paid pass rusher in the league behind Micah Parsons. However, he got the most guaranteed money in NFL history for a non-quarterback. So a huge congratulations to Hutch. And this game, yeah, I think this is going to be pretty one-sided. The Minnesota Vikings have been struggling to move the football. Their offensive line has not looked good. And J.J. McCarthy, who has missed the past few weeks, coming back his first game against that pass rush, yeah, this has the makings to be an absolute disaster. On top of that, that Lions offense is as potent as ever. They're a really damn good football team. They were able to tear it up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So here, I don't think this is going to be a relatively close game. I got the Detroit Lions winning. And J.J. McCarthy, welcome back. I'm so sorry. Following that, you got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. The Panthers. What happened? We were getting pretty optimistic about the Panthers. You had Rico Dowdle, who was doing real well. He was busting off 200 yards every single week. And then they decided to split carries with Hubbard, and things have not gone well since. On top of that, last Sunday, you had Andy Dalton playing, who couldn't even get a touchdown against the Buffalo Bills. And listen, almost anybody can get a touchdown against that Buffalo Bills defense. And it was just a putrid performance. Of course, going up against the Packers, you had word coming out of the Panthers camp saying, oh yeah, we're going to run more with Rico this week because, of course, why not against my team? They're taking on the Packers, who had a dominant win in that second half against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this young Packers team went into Pittsburgh and showed Aaron Rodgers who the new QB1 is in Green Bay.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
though I do appreciate everything that you did for the Packers. It's Jordan Love's time now. But the Packers, they were looking pretty darn good in that second half. Tucker Kraft having a career day. Jordan Love, 20 straight completions, 360 yards, the second most in his career. And overall, Jordan Love is putting together a very, very nice season. He only has 2 interceptions, so he's not turning the ball over. And it just seems like with Christian Watson back after what you saw on Sunday, this offense is ready to take it to the next level. Now, going up against the Carolina Panthers, it's just a matter of which Panthers team the Packers are going to face on Sunday. The good news for Carolina is that Bryce Young returned to practice this week and was throwing, and so it looks like he is going to be playing on Sunday, as Panthers fans definitely do not want to see Andy Dalton ever again. And I think this could be a really good test for this Packers defense. Bryce Young has been taking less sacks behind that offensive line, which is a good thing. And on top of that, we see how potent their running game can be. Now, of course, they will have to go up against Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary, who is having a fantastic season with already 7.5 sacks. And I think that is going to be a challenge for them to get the run game going, as the Packers are still boasting the best run defense in the NFL. So because of that, as long as the Packers offense is able to get things going, and hopefully they're able to do that in the first half this week, I think the Packers should be able to get a win in their throwback unis. And so because of that, I'm going with the Packers, and I just hope that this is not a trap game. Following that, you got the LA Chargers taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers lit up that Vikings defense this past Thursday, and I'm sure Chargers fans enjoyed watching those highlights in those unis.
I look quite pretty.
They're just so damn beautiful, man. But Justin Herbert is having a sensational season. With Joe Alt back, that offensive line is not back to full strength because, of course, there's no Rashawn Slater, but it is much better. On top of that, Vidal was able to get back to his running ways from a couple weeks ago. He had a really good night on the ground. And, of course, Gadsden, who the past 2 weeks has been lighting it up. He has been one of Justin Herbert's favorite targets over the past 2 games, and so that makes that offense even more potent. Now, taking a look at that defense, which has dealt with some injuries, they were able to take care of Carson Wentz, giving him problems all night, and they were able to contain Mason and Aaron Jones in the run game. They're going to be taking on the Tennessee Titans, who, yeah, things are not going well for Tennessee, like at all. Cam Ward, I like the guy a lot, and I hope he's able to develop in this league and not die behind that offensive line, which it just seems like every single week he is getting sacked more and more. He was sacked 4 times in that Colts blowout loss, and ultimately for the Titans, I don't think help is coming anytime soon. They need to have a bunch of really good drafts. They need to get some key pieces in free agency, and then I think they're going to start to actually be contenders. Until that point, I think the Chargers are going to be able to knock them off pretty easily on Sunday. And for Titans fans, we're halfway there. I know you're living on a prayer. Then you got a matchup that I'm sure Falcons fans are not really looking forward to. You got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New England Patriots. A Super Bowl rematch, 28-3. I'm sure we won't be hearing about that all week. The Falcons. Yeah, I can't trust you anymore, man. I know that Kirk Cousins was in and Michael Penix is making some good progress. It looks like he is going to play on Sunday. I know all of that. But you lost to the Miami Dolphins. You made the Dolphins look the best that they've looked all season. Tua had one eye, for God's sakes. And this is just what's infuriating about the Falcons, because 1 week they'll look fantastic. They'll get the ground game going. Michael Penix will look good. That defense will be able to get after opposing quarterbacks. That secondary will be locked down. But every single time you give them a little bit of hope, they crap the bed. And now, I don't know. I don't trust you anymore, Falcons. And they're going to be taking on the New England Patriots, who are rolling as of late. Drake frickin' frackin' May is playing phenomenally well. Myles Garrett sacked him 5 times this past Sunday, and they were still able to get a win over a very good defense. And honestly, I'm sitting here just trying to think of another explanation as to how the Patriots got so good again.
All right, come on back.
Spies.
Spygate 2.0 coming through. No, but seriously, talking about the Patriots, Drake May has shown this season to be that guy, which is the best possible news you could have for the Patriots, as honestly, that's what this season was for, to see if he could develop into being your franchise quarterback. And now, not only do you have that, but the team itself is playing really damn well. Their defense is playing well, and like I mentioned on Power Rankings, you'd like to see Henderson do a little bit more, but hey, they're still finding ways to win football games. And taking on the Atlanta Falcons, Falcons, I think this could be a really solid football game, though I don't know which version of Atlanta is going to show up. And hell, I don't even think Falcons fans know that either. And so here, I'm going to go with the Patriots with their sturdy defense to be able to stop Robinson and Algier. Penix coming back from an injury. Who knows how he is going to play, but I think Drake May is going to be able to move that ball against this Falcons defense. So I'm going with New England to get the win, and it's just going to continue to be May. Then you got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the New York Giants. The 49ers suffering a pretty tough defeat against the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud had his best game yet. And honestly, for the 49ers, who suffered even more injuries on Sunday, I don't know, man. It just might be one injury too far. They already don't have Fred Warner. They already don't have Nick Bosa. And it just feels like bits of their team are getting chipped away every single week. And at some point, it's going to be too much. The Texans were able to stop CMC from doing anything, as he's been the main engine that makes that offense go. And that made the difference on Sunday. They're going to be taking on the New York Giants, who... oh, man. Not only did they lose against the Philadelphia Eagles, not only did Saquon Barkley have his best game of the season and run all over them, but Cam Skattebo got injured. And I gotta be honest, I think everybody felt that injury.
As if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. I fear something terrible has happened.
And so wishing Skattebo a very quick recovery. I hope he is doing well. He's expected to be back for next season in about 6 months. But yeah, for the Giants, things are tough. Not only did they lose Malik Neighbors, now they lose Cam Skattebo, and Jackson Dart now still has to survive behind that offensive line. The good news is Tyrone Tracy is a pretty damn good running back, and so I'm curious to see how he's going to do this season. But going up against Robert Saleh and the San Francisco 49ers defense, I think they might have a tough time moving the ball. And if CMC is able to get things going, this Giants run defense is not great. It's at the bottom half of the league. I think the 49ers should win. So because of that, I'm going with San Francisco to get a bounce back win. I don't know if it's going to keep them in the running for the NFC West, but hey, we're just going week to week right now, and the 49ers, they're just praying for no more injuries. Then you got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Colts are 7-1 with Indiana Jones, and I gotta admit, it's a bit shocking.
Nothing shocks me. I'm a scientist.
Jonathan Taylor is playing like an MVP. The Colts defense is playing well. Daniel Jones is not turning the ball over. And overall, everything is going pretty damn well for the Colts. Who knows what the Jaguars are doing? The Texans are trying to get back into the standings. And the Titans, yeah, they got their ass kicked by the Colts. They're going to be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose defense really fell apart in that second half. Not only with injuries, but Tucker Kraft was able to run all over them. And Jordan Love was able to complete 20 straight passes. So yeah, things weren't going so well for the Steelers in that second half. The first half, things were going well. Jaylen Warren was running the ball well. They only gave it to him 3 times in the second half, which was a bit confusing. And Aaron Rodgers was able to get the ball out quickly. And I think just with the Steelers, especially after these last 2 losses, they seem like a good team this year and not a great team. Especially with that defense, which is the highest paid defense in the NFL, you just have some more expectations for them, and they are just not meeting them. Heading into this game, the Colts have been able to move the ball through the air, whether it's Michael Pittman making amazing grabs or on the ground with Jonathan Taylor, who is having this phenomenal season. And I think the Colts are going to continue to roll right through the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's just because I don't believe in the Steelers defense right now. TJ Watt has been very quiet, and when he's constantly getting chip blocked or he's getting double teamed, it's tough for him to have any production. And the Steelers just don't have a healthy enough defensive line or that other guy to really make a difference. So because of that, I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts to get the win. I think this could wind up being a close game being played in Pittsburgh. We'll see how Daniel Jones does, but yeah, Jonathan Taylor has been rocking so far. I have no reason to give up on him now. Indy gets the win. Then you have one of the most intriguing games of the week. You got the Denver Broncos taking on the Houston Texans. The Broncos, they did it. Bo Nix and that offense played 4 quarters of dominant football.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to
They were able to move that ball with ease against a very bad Dallas Cowboys defense. The Cowboys pass rush was non-existent, and the Broncos, who have just been really showing up in the fourth quarter, were able to knock off yet another NFC East team. this time just with a little less drama. And for the Broncos, this is what you definitely want to see. Bo Nix is progressing, and again, even though it's against not such a great defense, to be able to put together a complete game. I know this is something that Broncos fans have been upset about and blaming Sean Payton almost this entire season. It was just nice to see that offense really come to life. Now, unfortunately for the Broncos defense, which has been very good this season, they are going to be missing Pat Surtain for this game, which definitely is going to hurt them in the secondary. The good news is that their pass rush is really damn good and hopefully should be able to get after CJ Stroud and that really bad Texans O-line. Speaking of the Texans, as I mentioned, CJ Stroud had his best game of the season against that 49ers defense last week, and hopefully for the Texans, this is the start of maybe getting back into contention in that AFC South, because right now, besides the Colts leading the way, that second place spot is wide open. The thing with the Texans, their defense, just like the Broncos, is phenomenal. They are neck and neck as one of the better defenses in the NFL. The question mark, like for both of these teams, can CJ Stroud get some protection against that very good Broncos pass rush, and can they actually pass on this secondary? Like I said before, without Pat Surtain, it should be a little bit easier, but CJ Stroud has to have some time to throw the ball. And I honestly went back and forth here on which team I think is going to get this win. And even as I'm sitting here now, I still have my doubts. While the Texans offense did look better this entire season, they have not looked good, and going up against a really good defense is going to be a challenge. At the same time, you look at the Denver Broncos, who went up against a very bad defense last week. Can their offense rise to the challenge and beat a good Texans defense? And so here, and I'm splitting hairs here, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to get a win. I just don't trust that Texans O-line whatsoever. The Broncos pass rush has been good all season. We'll see if Bonito is going to be able to be a difference maker in this game. So I'm going with Bo Nix and the Broncos to get a win. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston is victorious, but here I'm going with Denver, and I guess you can just say, I believe. I believe. Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams able to enjoy a bye week last week, as in their fans couldn't be hurt by their respective teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to be looking to return to form because their offense is starting to slip, and they really need Brian Thomas Jr. to catch that ball.
Our lives are in your hands and you have butterfingers?
I know he's not getting traded, but catch the ball, Brian. And taking a look at the Jaguars, right, when Travis Etienne has been able to get things going, things look good for the Jaguars. Of course, Etienne had that hamstring injury, but is now back to full health, and I'm sure that bye week definitely helped things. And so if they're able to establish things on the ground, I like the Jaguars this season because they have shown that they can go and beat some top-tier opponents like the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to be taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, who, yeah, things are really not good. I like Ashton Genty a lot, but behind that offensive line, things are tough. Geno Smith hasn't thrown 3 interceptions in a little bit, so that is definitely a positive, but Max Crosby is the best thing on that Raiders defense, and unfortunately, he can't do everything himself. And going up against a healthy Jacksonville Jaguars team, I like the Jaguars' chances to win this football game. The Raiders are just not a great football team this year, and while they could definitely put together something on offense, the Jaguars' defense seems to have improved from last season, and so because of that, I'm going with Jacksonville to get the win. And Raiders fans, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm so sorry. Following that, you got the New Orleans Saints taking on the LA Rams. Oh, look, it's a repeat of that NFC Championship game that I'm sure Saints are over. The Saints, yeah, things did not look good last week as Spencer Rattler's time seems to be over, and Tyler Shook is going to get his first NFL start against that Rams pass rush.
All I can do right now is put on a brave face and go out there and be their leader.
It's over. We are screwed.
I'll say a prayer for you. But talking about the Saints, yeah, last week they looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL. And again, we've been talking about this from week to week. They've done a good job this season about not looking like the worst team. However, this past Sunday, it just seems like everything has started to fall apart. The offense couldn't get things going, and especially with some fluctuation at quarterback, it's going to be tough for them to have any consistency. They're going to be taking on the LA Rams, who are coming off a bye week, and Puka Nacua should be good to go this Sunday. And with with that combination of Puka and Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford playing well, yeah, I trust this Rams offense a ton. On top of that, as we mentioned, this Rams pass rush is able to get after any quarterback. I think Tyler Shough might be having a tough day on Sunday. And so because of that, I'm going with Los Angeles to get the win. The Rams should be able to continue their already pretty damn good season. And we'll see if we're talking about the Rams in January, because to me, it seems like a team that's built for it. Then you got the game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. These games are so much freaking fracking fun. The Chiefs, they look to be back at full strength, and even though Isaiah Pacheco did get banged up, it seems like they don't really need him because the majority of the time, Patrick Mahomes is their leading rusher. They were able to take care of business against the Washington Commanders, even though they stumbled out of the gate in that first half, and that game was tied 7-7 going into halftime. But a combination of a good Kansas City defense in the second half and that offense starting to get things going, they eventually were able to pull away from Washington. They're taking on the Buffalo Bills, who had a phenomenal win against the Carolina Panthers. Yes, it was Andy Dalton starting, but they were able to put up 40 points against that Panthers defense. On top of that, James Cook having a career day, over 200 yards on the ground. And I know that Josh Allen hasn't been putting up the greatest of stats. You could take a look at some wide receiver woes and them not really having a deep threat. But when James Cook gets things going, yeah, the Bills are a better team. On top of that, the Bills defense looked really darn good. As I was worried that Rico Dowdle was going to run all over that Bills defense, as their run defense has not been good this season, they were able to clamp down. Getting some folks returning on that defense definitely made a big difference in that matchup. And now taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, this is going to be a tough one, especially without Ed Oliver. And honestly, everything has been going the Chiefs' way recently, so we'll see if the Bills are able to pull this one off.
What are you gonna do? Call the police?
Yes.
And taking a look at this matchup, it seems like the Bills are usually the ones who come out on top in these regular season showdowns. It's being played in Buffalo, and I know that Bills fandom is going to be hot for this game. However, I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to get the win here. Even though the Bills definitely did impress me last week, I do have some concerns about that passing game, and going up against a good Chiefs defense, I think they might struggle a little bit. We'll see if the Chiefs can get anything going in the ground game with Brashard Smith or Kareem Hunt, but honestly, they haven't really needed those running backs this season. And with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice back in the lineup, I just think that Chiefs offense is going to be able to move the ball against this Bills defense. So because of that, I'm going with Kansas City to continue their winning ways, and Buffalo, help. You're our only hope. Then you got our Sunday night football matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders. The Seahawks enjoyed themselves a bye week last week, or just to cry about the Mariners some more, which I get it. The Brewers got swept, so things aren't going well. But talking about the Seahawks, they have been one of the most balanced teams in football when it comes to their defense and their offense. Even though their offense is very one-sided because they just keep on throwing the ball to JSN. But hey, if it ain't broke, you don't gotta fix it. And looking at their offensive line, it has been much better this season, and even though at times they're unable to get the ground game going, Sam Darnold is having himself a really nice year. He's not turning the ball over too much, even though that game against the Texans was infuriating. And again, once that secondary for Seattle gets healthier, they should get even better, and they're already one of the better teams in the NFC. They're gonna be taking on the Washington Commanders, and as we just mentioned, they got their asses kicked in that second half against the Kansas City Chiefs. And honestly, the Commanders just need Jaden Daniels to get healthy and back to his Rookie of the Year form.
I don't care what it takes. Get him back. We're running out of time. Capiche?
The good news for the Commanders is not their defense, but Scary Terry returned against the Chiefs and had two sensational grabs. One was a touchdown grab from Marcus Mariota, and one was a sideline grab that he was able to make a diving catch. And unfortunately, it was announced today that Scary Terry will not be playing this Sunday as he is dealing with an injury. And so not only will he not be there potentially when Jaden Daniels returns, but it also makes for the worst Halloween ever. The problem is they're going up against a pretty damn good Seahawks defense. And while they might be able to throw the ball against that secondary, you do have to worry about that pass rush. With their offensive line getting banged up, I know Tunsil got banged up in that Chiefs game, that may be a problem. And on top of that, I don't really trust this Commanders defense. And if they can't cover JSN, it is going to be a very, long night. So because of that, even though Jaden Daniels will definitely give them a boost if he plays, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to get a win here. I just think if they're able to have a balanced attack and get that run game going, and JSN just keeps on doing what he's doing, the Seahawks should be able to get the win. And for Commanders fans, you always have the NFC Championship game from last year. And then finally on Monday Night Football, you got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams enjoying a bye week last week. Oh, wait, what's that? Oh, sorry, no. Just the Cowboys defense enjoying a bye week last week as they were throttled by the Denver Broncos. The Cardinals, they actually got to relax. And for the Cardinals, it's been a disappointing season so far. Jacoby Brissett has been able to lead that offense a lot better than Kyler Murray has this season, and that is disappointing, especially when you're paying Kyler Murray a ton of money. They got running back injuries. They keep on losing these last-second games and fourth quarter collapses. And yeah, it's been a long year for Arizona fans. They're going to be taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who, like I mentioned, their defense was having a tough time last week. And honestly, it just feels like they could use a dominant pass rusher.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Wonder where he went. But yeah, the Cowboys defense, it is no good. They are waiting for Overshown to come back, who hopefully will allow them to get after the quarterback again, as they were not able to do that against Bo Nix last week. And their offense going up against that good Broncos defense, they struggled. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens have been having a nice season. Dak Prescott was in those MVP talks before he played that Broncos defense. Unfortunately, though, Dak had a couple of interceptions. He got sacked twice. And yeah, it was just a long day for the Dallas Cowboys. Now playing at home, this actually could be a really close game. The Cardinals have been pretty darn competitive so far this season, and when they play the Cowboys, they usually have these really close games. And for the Cowboys, while their defense is not good, their offense is able to put up points. So you might see a shootout on Monday Night Football, and this could be a really good game. We'll see who's under center for the Cardinals this Monday. It seems like it's going to be Kyler Murray, as early reports are indicating that he could return. But either way, I trust the Cowboys offense to get back into shape here. While Javonte Williams might struggle against this top 10 run defense that the Cardinals have right now, I think that Dak should be able to take care of that secondary with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So here, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys offense to seize the day. I don't believe in their defense, so I would not be surprised if this is a close game, and I hope it's not another fourth quarter collapse for the Cardinals. But yeah, Cowboys, you get a win. Let's see if you can find a defense. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you got winning this week? We're halfway through the NFL season, folks, so buckle up. It's about to be a crazy rest of the ride. You guys find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching, folks. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.